Hello guys, welcome to
Hello.
the podcast with myself, hisself and herself. We're here today to talk about a few topics. Hello? Cup of tea.
Sorry, wow.
Thanks babe, no, much appreciated. Okay. Cup of tea's banging.
What a legend.
Sorry everyone, sorry.
Thanks babe, don't worry.
Sorry.
You're good.
Sorry.
Don't worry, just
Bye,
shut
Anna.
up. Yeah, we wanted to start off by touching on obviously a huge story right now on online, and you guys have asked myself and Sonny especially a lot to speak on this and to do our part, and we said some bits on Twitter, but I feel like it's always better if it's in a video. We definitely wanted to address Black Lives Matter and how awful this situation is, and it's powerful to see how social media can come together and everyone's standing up for what's right. And there's links in the description.
Yeah, there's of course there's like petitions you can sign up to and plenty of links and whatnot where you can get information on how to protest the right way, and just general information which ourselves we've been looking at. Obviously this is something everyone's always learning, so we have a responsibility with a platform that we're fortunate enough to have to put those out. So those will all be in the descriptions of this video, and I'm sure in the links to our bios on our social medias. But yeah, it's heartbreaking, man.
Right, it's so sad to see, like all this like unfortunate like situation, like everything's getting worse. Like it is sad to see, but then social media, being such a powerful tool that it is, and seeing people leveraging it for the right reasons, and then people actually making a physical stand is it's good to see that, man.
It is obviously very sad that it's happening as well. Like during coronavirus, like this year it's just been.
This
Wow.
year has been it's been a lot, isn't it, so far? But I feel like there's a lot of change that's going to happen, and coming into summer, it will be hopefully like one big sort of like reincarnation of society as a whole.
Something needs to happen. Yeah, it'd be nice to finish the year off a lot better than it started.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, that's for sure.
It's huge, man. Like it's huge. Like coronavirus is like you'd have never have thought like that in this time. You'd be queuing up outside of shops for like an hour just to like get a few bits from the shops, and you wouldn't have thought that like everyone you see is doing the exact same thing you're doing. Normally anyone you see on the street you can distinguish has like a completely different life tune, and like they're doing their job and they're rich and they're whoever, and like whatever they're doing, but literally you see anyone on the street now, they're stuck in their house the same way you are in yours, coming up probably doing very similar games like board games, chatting, food is a new entertainment thing, Netflix, all these distractions. We're all going to sympathise with this time as like in unity.
You said it really nicely the other day, I think, to our family about how, as strange as the situation is, how it's been actually quite nice to have so much time with friends. Like we're very fortunate that we live with our friends.
Very fortunate, yeah. Some people not so fortunate. Which I mean, I think we could maybe touch on. Like,
Yeah, I think that's quite interesting. Like, obviously, some people were affected by like the lockdown a lot more than others, but I find it quite interesting, like how different age groups probably have a completely different like perception and vision of just what's going on with the world right now. Like, dude, imagine being like 10 right now, and like, or even younger. Like, when you're like 6, 7. Like, imagine being 6 or 7 with like everything that's going on, and like them, like the poor kids, like all over the world, especially in America right now, seeing like what's going on outside. If they don't understand what they're seeing, like that's going to be scary. And then obviously they're just being told that they're not allowed to go out and they're not allowed to go to school because of this lockdown, and they probably don't really understand what that is. Honestly, to be a youngster right now, they probably think it's the end of the world. It's probably quite scary.
I don't know if you remember, but I vaguely remember when I was about 4 when 9/11 happened, and I remember the world was. I remember just people and parents and aunties and uncles and people we saw were just always like in a state of shock. I'm like, oh my god, blah, blah, blah. They'd always be like talking about it. It's like this thing, and remember that being quite like holding a lot of gravity over that sort of year. Rightfully so as well. It was a world-changing event. And this again is another one, like you're saying, man. Like Sammy and Sean will definitely, like when we spoke to them the other day, they're definitely getting sick of it. Like they just don't understand what to do. And as young kids with energy, they they need to do something, and parents are
Yeah,
getting mad.
initially they were like stoked that they didn't have to go to school. But then their school started doing online classes and they have to now go to school online, so they couldn't get out of that
You
one
sign in
forever.
online, and like they know when you sign up. So it's good.
It's strange and important times, like with everything going on, like, you know, not just like the corona. I think there's a lot of things that have happened so far that are going to be remembered in history for quite a long time after this, and people in like our grandchildren at schools are going to learn about and things like that. Like, I think they're going to learn about the events that have happened over the past few days and like the past few months, like
This year, man.
yeah, just this year. Like it's
been huge from like all angles. Like the statistics are crazy. Like there's huge statistics, and it's so sad how many people have now lost their lives to this as well. It started off as like they were worried for like everyone's sort of health and safety, and then like young people sort of got a little bit cocky for a moment where it's like, oh, it doesn't really affect you because you're young, and people never thought that it would get to that many elderly people, that many already sick people, and I think the public didn't quite understand it. What, you know, the World Health Organization and the NHS leaders in our country were talking about, and now it's happened. You see these numbers of hundreds of thousands, millions of people, like who've lost their lives, this of families, and then like everyone being locked in together as well, and the amount of divorces and all this sad stuff's happened, and there's no other way to look at it.
We'll never be able to go back to how the world was before 2020, and that I wonder when this will when we'll move on to the next phase, because this coronavirus could just keep coming back every year. Like
it could, but I'm not worried about. I don't think the coronavirus coming back in like full force. I don't think it's gonna like distinguish like humanity and the economy's kind of future long game sort of trajectory. I think everything will find its way to come back to order. I just think that process is going to be so alien to us, because it's just not happened before, and not happened especially in this era where everything's already so complicated with social media and internet, and like the amount of ways you can like make money and like spend money these days is insane. And then you add on top like something that freezes all of that, the stuff that you got used to. Your brain was so used to going 1,000 miles an hour, and then all of that's gone. The only distractions you have are the people you live with and the four walls you're surrounded by, and it's like one big cleanse. I think people will come out of this.
That's what I'm hoping for. Like with so much negative going on, like I think at the minute a lot of the negative things are being highlighted, which especially in some cases needs to happen. You know, things need attention brought to them for change to happen. But I hope that we can also afterwards get out of this and see some form of positive from like just hopefully some form of positive towards the end of the year, to see that like loads of people have learnt a new skill or something in the pandemic, and like they've gone on to change their life or just better their life in some way through something they've learned. I know that doesn't necessarily mean that what's happened doesn't matter, but like if we can get anything from it, like at least it'd be nice to get that and to have that highlighted afterwards. Like,
yeah, definitely.
It'd be cool.
I think I 100% agree, and me and you have touched on this a little bit, haven't we? And how like our governments and our health systems in America. I think America is a huge shock to their health system as well. And for the UK, we already had, you know, a government-run NHS already, and that was
severely understaffed.
Oh yeah, severely understaffed. But it's helped us become fully equipped for something that has been a warning sign for a long time. With Bill Gates, I watched the Bill Gates TED Talks
years ago,
and he predicted this is the next thing that will cripple humanity, and no one ever took him that seriously. And there was billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions going into military weaponry, and nothing going into how we stop pandemics and
Bill Gates has said this.
Bill Gates showed this on a TED Talk. You should definitely watch it. You guys at home should watch it as well. Like, he speaks about the statistics and the compound rate of which one person can affect two, that affects another two, another two, another two, and before you know it, by any like reasonable period, there's millions of people.
I think it's interesting, like these people, like you get successful people out there, and they warn of all these sort of things like beforehand. Like, this is not the first time I've heard like a similar sort of story to like what you're saying. Like, why the fuck are we not listening to these people? Like, they're clearly very intelligent people.
That's exactly what I think that is going to happen with this. I think governments have now literally become like the science guys. Science. Science is the people to listen to, and it always should have been, and it always will be, hopefully, as long as we keep sanity in our governments and our leadership. because science will not lie. It's for everyone's benefit. It's like it's like democratizing the complicated world and the natural world we live in, our bodies and our biology. It's like if you look at it as statistics and how to improve those things over time and how to stop big numbers like landsliding and like obviously killing and affecting a lot of people, then these guys will know how to build structures to stop those things happening. And the government's always kind of shunned it. Same with global warming.
Well, yeah, I mean, politicians, they only have short times in power. And so they focus on like short-term change they can make to get re-elected again. But when something like this happens, their hands are forced to stand up for something.
It's just like when there's a war, that's when countries' military like advances like severely increased. Like with World War One and Two, obviously, like huge amount of weaponry was innovated that like we would have never have probably had if they didn't.
Like computers. Like computers. Turing invented the computer to crack the codes.
Arguably the plane, the tank, straight roads. Like what's it called? Economy, where you can I can't remember what the terminology is. Where you can like freeze an economy and then open it again. It's called something because they had to keep doing it during the attacks. They had to keep like freezing everything, and everyone kind of knew what to do and had a position. I can't remember what it is. It's a way of like leading people. But when we used to have the sirens obviously go off and everyone goes underground, there was like a procedure, and I think everyone now knows there's this procedure that used to be air attacks then. Now it's like there's a procedure for widespread infection. The second something happens again, everyone knows, cool, lockdown this period, this amount of time, furlough as possible, all these other things that can help us. We're better to lock down straight away the second we see a potential sign, and then go, okay, it's just like a warning shot and we can keep going, than we are to go, oh, it's happening, but we can't afford to stop because the economy will die, so let's just hope for it, and then the economy dies and everyone's like...
Well, the countries that have more control over their borders and more, or smaller populations as well, or more isolated countries like Scandinavia, you see their cases are very low. Or like islands.
Have they done well at controlling it?
Yeah,
and stuff?
because as soon as it was starting to get more widespread in China, they immediately just shut down. Like Denmark, I think, was one of the least affected. Don't quote me on that, but England, it's a little bit harder for England because we trade internationally like more than most countries.
Well, the reason we have a power is because we're an island and we can trade, and we've built an economy that's like valuable to the world.
But like you said, that reluctance to act quick enough has led to we're the top 5 of most hit cases.
We definitely are. And I think this is gonna. Who was I talking to this about? I think this was maybe with Honor. We were saying how like businesses. Yeah, it was with Honor. We were saying how businesses are like, especially if you've got parents who travel. Like our dad travels all the time. He's going everywhere all the time, and there's some like with what he does, he needs to travel, he needs to meet people, he needs to like build relationships and stuff. But there's some people who travel all the time just to do like random checkups, things that software systems can do. You can do remotely on Zoom and stuff like that. I can't remember whose parent it was. It was someone who was here. But there's loads of situations like that where people travel an extensive amount every year, and they just don't need to. They just need to have a better
system in place.
Better system in place, and I think a lot of businesses are now gonna potentially.
They've been forced to adapt.
I think that's a worrying thing. I think during this lockdown, like companies have been forced to like take hits on certain like parts of their like companies that can't be looked after as well because people are off, and they've done it and sort of realised, oh, we didn't really ever need to be spending this money on this person's salary per year to have this sorted. It's another one of them things. I think a lot of people are going to lose jobs from it just through companies realising they don't need to staff or.
Some people, yeah.
Well, you were saying it would be good to have one like real obvious positive change at the end of the year. I think the climate effects of everyone being indoors and
it's mad.
And then the way businesses, like you say, are going to be changing their methods going forwards. Like
it's crazy how much like. The environment has like healed to some extent in this time. It is actually insane. I wonder, here's an interesting one, yeah. I wonder how much more greenery there is now in a lot of these like urbanized places where they haven't had gardeners and things like that accessible. I know our garden like took a bit of a hit, and some other people's gardens taken a bit of a hit because gardeners obviously aren't coming doing the rounds. So like these urban places, like I bet if you had like a satellite image and then like went just for that first month, it probably is different now because our gardeners started to come back. But like for that first month,
have you seen Chernobyl?
Yeah, it's mad.
Like that is now a paradise for creatures and plant life. Like, but that is a city.
Wait, what?
Where there was a nuclear power plant disaster in the 80s. I think.
But is there no radiation there no more?
No, there is. There's a lot of radiation. It would be there for tens of thousands of years. But I don't actually. I guess the levels of it are dangerous to humans. Like, it's not recommended because obviously, like, you can get mutations for your kids and things like that. But the animals aren't aware of that. So
they're just.
So they go there in big numbers and. Because there's no humans around, so they've like reclaimed the territory.
It is mad, yeah. It's definitely. I think we have touched on quite a few negative parts of coronavirus. What do you feel has been a positive thing? Like, what message can we give to like people watching? If there's any like kind of advice we can give to coping with living this way, and how it's going to keep being a like somewhat spin-off of this version of lockdown for a while now, like. Although it is hopefully being alleviated over the next few weeks, people are still going to be very restrained. What do you think, if we had to give like a nugget of advice?
It'd be to make use of your time. When you realise that you have so much of it, I think you realise how little you use your time.
Wisely, yeah.
Use your time wisely, and I just, do something productive, like, or just do at least one thing during the day that like can make a change. Do you know what I mean? Like
I do that, bro. Like every day I try and have like if I go to bed, if I look back, like progress has been made. Like that day, if I erased it, I'd be going backwards. Do you know what I mean? So like each day it's like, cool, I got that done today, and that means that I've made this much progression. I'm going in the right direction.
I think that would be a good sentiment for people like Sammy and Sean, our little brothers. The fact that their education, they've had more responsibility for themselves to look for ways to grow as a person. And like maybe that's a good message, like you're saying, that people go away from this trying to use their time more wisely, so that every day there's like progress that they've made. Because I do think that's like the point of it all.
Massively. Well, I think there's that, like valuing time, and also I know it's affected me massively, is the people whose time you choose to share yours with is so is the only valuable thing. Like, I don't think anything else is valuable. I think money, like material gain, like clout, all this other stuff's bollocks. It's just the actual time that you exchange with people you're around. That is the only thing that you look back and care about. Because if I look back at the band, the only thing I care about is some of the like moments we all shared. So there's not one other thing I care about. Don't give a shit about hitting 1 million subscribers. None of that. Not the first things that come to mind.
Yeah, you just don't think of it. Yeah. I hope this is like like before things get better, they normally fucking plummet, don't they? And they get real shit for a bit. Like, I'm hoping this is it, man. Like, I hope at the end of the year, like, I might be dreaming a bit here, but like, I'm hoping people are healthier than ever. Like, people, like the black community in America aren't like living in fear. Like, I hope all these things are just better than they were at the beginning of the year, man. Because I feel like just planet Earth as like one big massive society is taking a pretty big punch in the face this first half of the year. So hopefully it's, a situation where things get worse before they get better.
Yeah, I think so, man. And
even if not, I think the world can take the opportunity to take the bull by the horns and hopefully put things right and make something good out of this opportunity.
I think we need governments to start. I'm going to start preaching about someone who knows a lot about politics and governments and how they run and stuff. I look into it a lot and hear about it a lot, but I don't know enough about it. So there are some very good people on in other podcasts and on YouTube who will give much more educated like views of like current affairs in the world and coronavirus and stuff like that. So useful, like the Bill Gates on coronavirus, on pandemics. But to me, what seems logical is that we need governments massively to listen to scientists more. Like, scientists need to like lobby together like more firmly on like, I think, big concerning topics. Like, I still think car safety is insane. The fact that people pass away in cars every year is still a crazy world we live in.
Honestly, how many like deaths do you reckon cars like cause or are involved with per year? It's got to be so many. Like,
in the world, it must be millions.
Yeah, no, it is still about a million.
Yeah, which is insane. But like, that's what I mean. Scientists need to sort these problems. They should be the things we are like constantly trying to progress on. And we do get better at them. Elon Musk is someone who's making a big change there, and I think once autonomy comes in, it'll be a safer place. But science, and then the other one I think is we're seeing more and more how social media, the power of social media, how it could be used, and I think it's still in its like kind of fetus stages of like understanding its place with society, and society understanding its place with social media. It is this very strange beacon of opinion that can be blown.
I completely agree with you about the scientists, but then I think it is the responsibility of everybody as an individual. Like we all have the power to educate ourselves by choosing the right mentors, like the Bill Gates and the Elon Musk of this world, the people who are proving with their actions that they're a force for good.
And there's loads of other people as well, not just rich famous people. There's some great politicians. There's some great like religious movements. There's some great things out there which are aiding the world in this time of like pressure. It's also helping heal us in a big way. And I think everyone who's behaved as well. I think like a lot of people have abided by lockdown rules.
Yeah, there's the obvious. You know, there's always going to be, you know, we'll put it lightly, idiots in the world, to say the very least, in all sorts of scenarios. But I think on the whole, things are starting to improve and get better. Like, you know, with what you said, the majority of people have stuck to it. I know when you only see the bad people that are outside and whatnot, like it tends to be bad. But I think a lot more people have stuck to it than haven't.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd like to think.
Yeah. And I think there's all of these big tasks we have in front of us as a world, and we all just need to keep fighting them together. Like everyone needs to realise how powerful they can be as an individual when they connect in this way that we're seeing for a multitude of things, and it makes you kind of proud to be a human in a way, because you get to, you know, there's an issue and we sort it out as a people, not just like social media's giving us that opportunity.
Yeah.
We see an issue as a people, we're going to sort it out. Not as a few individuals making high-powered decisions. It's now we're making the decision.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be someone abusing their power, like you said. It can be us. It just takes one person to stand up to something, and you're then the first domino in the chain.
Yeah,
you know,
inspire your friend to do it, and then they inspire their friend.
Yeah, so if you could take anything from this podcast, I'd say that would be probably the one message, you know. Yeah. Be the one that inspires someone else to do something good. You know, if you're inspired to do something good, take action on that. Do it yourself, because you may inspire 3 other people to do that, and those 3 other people may inspire 4 or 5 other people, and each one of those may inspire more, and before you know it, the world's slowly becoming a better place, you know?
It is.
Very well said.
Hopefully. Yeah, I mean, we've got a friend of ours coming soon.
We do indeed.
He's literally about to walk up to the house. I've got some very exciting things to talk about on a music standpoint as well, which is cool. So we've probably got to round this up, but I feel like it's good to talk about this stuff, man. It's good for, hopefully we can help a few people as well with their kind of mental state at the moment. Generally, I think people's mental states are in very strange positions. And it's good to, I think we just need to keep talking on things like this. I think it's healthy for us and for hopefully people watching.
Yeah.
Alright, well, thank you guys, appreciate it. Let us know what else to talk about in future podcasts in the comments. And like we said, go to the links in the bios, and we'll try and link the Black Lives petition and this site where there's a lot of information on it as well for you to learn more. But yeah, thank you, subscribe, and we'll see you every Wednesday and Saturday we'll post.
Yeah.